Hello everyone, Julia Sheehan here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from Brisbane, Queensland. I hope you're all very well today. Today I'd just like to show you how I made this little card. It's a nice, quick, simple little card for a baptism or christening, and we might as well just get right in there and get started. Okay, the things that you're going to need for this card, I'll just show it to you up close as well. There we are. The things that you will need are a piece of cardstock, whichever colour you decide. Today I'm using the Highland Heather, and so that is 8 1/4 by 5 7/8 of an inch. I am also using Whisper White, which is 5 6/8 of an inch by 4 inches, and then I'm just using some offcuts of the Highland Heather and Whisper White as well. Okay, the other things we'll need for this are the stamp sets, and it is the Hold On to Hope stamp set. I'll just get the glare off that for you, and the Make a Difference stamp set. And I'm also using the corresponding Cross of Hope framelits, and I will be using this one and this one, so these two. And also I will be using my layering circles framelits, and I'm using the 4th from the center on each, on the plain and the scalloped. So that's it. And the other thing that I am using is this beautiful embossing folder, Quilt Top it's called, Textured Impressions embossing folder, and it's absolutely beautiful. Really lovely embossing folder. Okay, so first things first, get your cardstock, and we're just going to fold and burnish that, just making sure that your edges line up nicely. Just get them onto the camera there. There we go. And then you're going to pop that aside and get your piece of Whisper White, and we're going to emboss it. Now, when you put this in the embossing folder, have the Stampin' Up image facing up and the Sizex thing. But what I like to do is to make sure I get a balance of impression, so that where you've got these circles and everything, you don't have it off balance when you put it in here. So if you look at the pattern, try and get the pattern to balance on both sides, so that it looks neat, and it, whatever is protruding out either side of your card is the same. So I don't know if you can see that, but I've got that lined up fairly well. Now I've already done that ahead of time, just so I don't have to bring the big shot up here all the time. And if you have a look at this, if I can get that where you can see it, and what I've tried to do is to make sure these patterns match on either side. Now, it's not imperative, it's just something that I like to do. I think it helps balance out a card. Okay, next thing we need to do is just attach that. So I'll be using Tombow, my go-to favourite. There we go. And I'll just pop that onto the front of the card. Get that lined up. There we are. That's done. Okay, now the next thing is to get our cross, and I will tell you, when I was doing this, I initially stamped this cross here and then cut it out using this die. Now, the only thing with that is I found, and I'll show you, like, I'll be totally honest with you as to how this worked out. When this one here has been done with the stamped cross, And I like the stamp cross because it has a little bit of variation in it. Where is it? I'll show you what I mean. I don't know if you can really get a good idea, but you can see that there's like little nicks and things that make it not perfectly plain. And I thought, okay, that would be nice. So I tried that. But when you have to cut the cross out, it's really, really difficult to balance it. And if you look carefully at this one up close, you can see that there the blue of the cross comes out, but on this side it's white. And here there's a little bit of blue around it. I also did it with this pink one. Same thing happened. I have white down this side of the cross and actually pink down this side of the cross. The stamp is not quite wide enough to completely cover the cutout. So I then decided that I would cut it directly out of the colour cardstock. And I do think that that is stronger and more effective. Of course, it's entirely up to you, but I just wasn't happy with that because it is almost impossible to get that perfectly centered. And even if you do, you still get a wide edge. So just something to think about if you're going to do one. I do think, in comparison, the stronger colour on the cross looks better. But, of course, it is up to you. The other thing I did, just to do a little bit of variation as well, was to sponge the background. This one's actually done in lemon lime twist. And I did cut the cross out of the lemon lime twist, so it looks nice and strong. But I just sponged the background of this one, and I didn't do it even the whole way over. I was actually looking for that sort of mottled look, just to sort of bring up the pattern on the embossing folder. And I also did it with a very light covering using a sponge as well. And this one's had a few various things done to it just where I was practicing with it, but it actually looks quite nice with just a very light sponging over the top. And I mean light, I just very lightly did that over the top of that to get the stitching to stand out, but the background to stay almost completely white. I also turned it upside down on the stamp pad and just tapped it down gently. That does work, but you've got to be careful because you can see here a little bit of the ink got on the white part. So I was doing that area there. But where I was just sponging it, up here very lightly, is where the stitches stand out. And so it's just another way you can do it as well, just to bring a bit more colour into it. So you can have the plain white, a little bit of colour, or you can go for the sponging. All of which I like. Okay, so now what we need to do is cut out the cross. Excuse me, I'm just having a drink of water. I have a asthma-related cough at the moment. Okay, so I would then get my Highland Heather and I would cut out the scalloped circle and the cross, which I have already done from there. So I have those two elements there. Then I cut out the plain white cross using this die, and that gave me this. And then all I need to do is to stamp my, where is it? There it is. It's right in front of me. No wonder I couldn't find it. And I'll just stamp that sentiment in Highland Heather. And then cut that out. And that fits perfectly in that number 4 from the centre framelit. Now I have already done that just to save time, and that's there. And then we can just put it together. Now I'm just going to stick this onto here. Again, just using some Tombow. Just place that on there. You'll only get just a slight edging of the scallop there. Just make sure you center it well. And with the cross, you just need to dot it with some glue. Obviously you would do it on the corners, because if anything's going to lift, it will be a corner. But just putting these little dobs of glue is enough for it. All the cards I've done with it have been just with little dots of glue. There we go. It doesn't take very long, and then we just put that over the top of the white cross. Make sure it's all lined up nicely. There we go. And that's done as well. Now I'm going to use dimensionals. And these, where are my large ones? There they are. And anybody who has watched me in the past will know that I do make sure I have plenty of dimensionals on my work, but if you don't want to put as many on, don't feel that you have to. I just like things really secure. There we go. Take those off. And then all we do is, and if you've done your pattern fairly well centered, then you can find the center of your pattern very easily too, which means that you can sort of balance out your cross where you want it. And that's exactly where I want it. So that goes on. Flip this over, and this has dimensionals on it too. You can see how quickly this card comes together. It's really just a very simple card, but I think sometimes for baptisms and weddings and things, simple cards look really, really nice. Sometimes things can be too busy. Okay, and then I just center that underneath there. And I like that there. And then I just used some rhinestones, and I put one in the center of the cross, just there, and just one on each side there. This sentiment says, celebrating one of God's most remarkable creations, and that is a baby, a remarkable creation. And like, I don't ever discuss religion or put my point of view out there or anything, but a lot of people need cards of this type, so clearly it's good to do them. Whatever you think, because you can always change them around. You could put a different sentiment on here. You could put something different up here. You know, you could turn it into an Easter card. It's completely up to you. But I do like that in the Highland Heather, and these days of parents going for completely different colours, not the traditional powder pink and powder blue, which I have done anyway. But for these stronger colours, I mean, that's a lovely colour. Now for the inside of the card, I had a piece here I was going to use. There we are. And all I'm going to do is stamp on there. Especially if you're giving this card to someone else to give, or someone wants to buy it from you, or you give it to them. Let's try and get that straight if I can. I have just written, and I made this up myself, baptism of, and that's what I did with that stamp set that I showed you before. This one, make a difference, just put the letters together myself. And on that as well, there's this little line down here, and so I just put that at the bottom like so, and whoever has the card can write baptism of, put the child's name, and then anything else that you would like to write as a message. I don't want to fill it up with all sorts of stuff that may not be relevant to the person they're giving it to. And I like that this particular font. I think it's nice to put it together like that. I think that's quite pretty. And then all I'm going to do is attach that to the inside of the card, and the card is done. How easy is that? Nice, quick, simple. And you could change the words to christening of, just whatever you want to put in the inside. There we go, and it's done. Now please comment below if you've got anything to say about it, or if there's anything extra you would like to do with it. I'd love to hear anybody's opinion on that. And thank you to all the people who have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did. And just click on the notification bell so that you'll know when I'm doing another video, or a thumbs up would be great too if you liked it. And if you've got any other ideas about changing the background, please let me know. Always willing to try something new and different. I'll put the one I did today up on top there. And thank you very much for spending some time with me. Hope to see you next time. Have a great week. Bye for now.